Hi, this is Steve Rupp with the Zulu Group here at Keller Williams Realty in Carmel, Indiana. Wanted to talk to you today a little bit about home valuations. We've all heard on the news about how crazy the real estate market has been in almost every part of the country. And in Carmel and the surrounding greater Indianapolis area, that has been absolutely no exception. So what does it actually mean when someone says that your house is worth so much money? Well, there's some tools that you can actually look at to check, and they're all free to you, and we're going to start with them in varying options of importance and relevance to you as far as the true fair market value for your house. Now, at the end of the day, what does true fair market value mean? Well, really it means, what is a ready, willing, and able buyer willing to pay for your house at a particular point of time? Now, this could be different from one buyer to another buyer, but at the end of the day, that's really what we're trying to get at. So what can you do to figure out what, in general, is the market valuing your house, especially when it's going up so fast? So let's start with the first free valuation option that's available to you. It is, as I would say, probably the least relevant to you when it comes to market valuation, as well as going to be the least applicable to the current market conditions. The first one is your assessed valuation. An assessed valuation is based on the tax assessor's valuation of your property for property tax purposes. In a perfect world, what you really want is for the assessor to think that you live in a shack and for your ultimate buyer to think you live in a palace. So you want this assessor's number to be as low as possible. That's why, in general, this is really not that reliable in coming up with a true fair market value for your house. What I have seen in my experience, and this is not scientifically proven, but in my experience in central Indianapolis, we're looking at the tax assessment is about 80 to 85% of true fair market value. So that means for a $100,000 house, your assessment is probably going to be somewhere between $80,000 to $85,000. In other words, if you're going to sell your house, you probably would be leaving a lot of money on the table if you relied on the tax assessment value for pricing your property. Let's move on to the second one, online valuation estimates. We know what they are. We've been on their sites. We enjoy being on the sites. Saturday Night Live has even done a pretty cool skit about them. But let's face it, they can't keep up with the hot market. You have to have somebody actually take a look at your house. Do you think that an artificial intelligence data gathering computer algorithm is going to be able to tell your specific house, which is unique, on your property with your specific upgrades and updates or not, to your neighbor's house on a different piece of property with different updates and upgrades or not, and give you a good true fair market value? I would say no. In fact, in many cases, it's off by as much as 10 to 15 or even 20%. I don't know about you, but if I'm going to sell my house, I want as much as I can get for it. So make sure that you're careful. Those valuation sites are fun, but they're not wholly accurate. And if you're going to choose to rely upon them, just know that that information is probably inaccurate and dated. And it is even worse in a fast-moving market like we're seeing ourselves in right now. So that leaves us with the third option today. And this is going to be the most relevant and logical way of valuing your house, and that is a comparative market analysis, otherwise known as a CMA. What is a CMA? This is when a real estate agent personally visits your house and takes an inventory of your lot, your house, your square footage, any updates or upgrades that you've done to it since you've lived there, and how it transfers into the market as it relates to other similar properties that buyers may be looking at when they're looking at homes. So what the real estate agent will do is they will compare and contrast each individual component of your house and come up with what they feel is a fair market value, what a ready, willing, and able buyer is willing to pay for your house at that particular point in time. There is no other way around it. You cannot do this super easy and have some online automation tool or a tax record or something like that to give you a value. You've got to have a real estate agent give you a number. And the most important thing is make sure it's not something that's old. You do not want to have a valuation that was given to you 6 months ago for a value today, because I can virtually guarantee you that in this market, that is an old and it's a low number, and nobody wants that. So do yourself a favor. Call your real estate agent. If you are in the Indianapolis area, give us a call. We'd be happy to come out and give you a free market analysis to let you know what your home is worth in today's market. And that leads me to the very final item on our checklist today is our blank check campaign. What is a blank check campaign? How does it work? Why are you doing this, Steve? Well, we have such a low inventory on our market. We're going to be talking about that in a future episode, so make sure you tune into that to find out exactly what's happening with our market. But our inventory, suffice it to say, is so low right now that we are creating our own list of potential sellers for people who may be interested. If I were to show up at your doorstep on Saturday morning, let's say, with a contract from a qualified buyer who's willing to either pay cash or has been fully vetted with a lender, and we've got a bona fide pre-approval letter in hand and a blank check, and we hand it to you as a seller and say, Mr. Seller, I've got my buyer here, I've got a contract here, and I got a blank check. What number needs to be on this blank check in order for you to say, sold? I want to know what your number is. Everybody has it. I have my number. I want to know what yours is. Make sure you post a comment or shoot us an email at steve@welcome2indy.com. steve@welcome2indy.com. If you're in the Indy metro area, we'd love to know what your number is, and we'll keep a record of that. And for all the buyers that we're working with right now, as well as ones that are coming up in the spring market, we will be happy to let you know if we have a buyer who would like to start the conversation at the number you give us. You save money, you save time, and you don't have to have a bunch of strangers walking through your house. It's a win-win-win for everybody. So, thank you so much for listening. I'm Steve Rupp with the Zulu Group at Keller Williams Realty. If you like what you heard, please like and share us with other people you care about to make sure they can see this great information too. Thanks for watching.